There's so many people in the world that can't attain a peace of mind or even a spoon of food to be happy or to have anything spiritually, and they've lost all hope. And we could do so much more to help our fellow man. Just about everything I've ever done to punctuate a beginning and end of a series, where I would go from one phase to another, has been from some type of profound dream that not only it gives you a perfume, a feeling the next day, it lingers with you. You can feel it the next morning. It's profound.
R.L. Clone Home. You are no longer alone.
I don't try to plot a course, it just evolves and unfolds on its own. As soon as you slam that paint up there, if it's alive, you work with the color, you can taste purple like grapes and everything, you know, and all of a sudden something happens in front of you. The bulb heads, they were so real and personal for me.
Only one that is filled can share emptiness. Richard is not afraid to bleed, and that's what heals his audience. Even though Richard's words are in black and white, his sound is in color. Freedom's chain rattles with applause for one of its true slaves, one that fell to misbehave in society's box of thunder. Art, from the greatest to the worst, is worth nothing. It is worth everything. It's a soul's calling card. An artist is someone who is blessed. An artist is someone who is cursed. Short of long. No one should nibble at the core of Richard. If you are going to bite, it should be a sound bite. For Richard or poor. Richard flows through the blood of the vessel veins, saddled with the wisdom that the gift of life is the acceptance of the ups and frowns of the merry-go-downs, bringing a smile and a thought to what being caged in a tube has brought.
When I found out how to paint live paint versus dead paint, there's no thrill going ever back.
When you meet Richard, you are taken back that your front row seat is so close to his show of soul. So close that you can feel the wind of innocence that flows from the childlike strings of this wounded, naked jester of truth. He wears his sleeve on his heart, an empty tunnel open to both ends of any search for the light of everyone's spirit.
The dome happened to be sitting on the top of an old table that was originally a baptismal font. Eventually turned into a saucer, flying, full of life. That type of dream, I've always dipped in and then improvised the next day and came up with a new beginning of another series, where one led to another. My subconscious dreaming quality has always punctuated my career just when I needed it somehow or another. It would come to me. Right then, it's a state of mind. You follow it like a writer. You pursue it. You let it take you. It has actually a life of its own while it's being created. You just let it happen. If you find yourself trying to do it, it's dead, it's stopped, and you're stuck. The most wonderful times is when the wind's in your sail and you're really creative and it's happening, but you have to make it happen even when the wind's not there.
It's time for the studio hog to ground and face the winter of his shadows. It's time to remember to forget and rejoice with friends of no regrets. The Earthlink lives. The ship has landed. The alien, once too weak, is ready to speak through the paint of his journey toward the eyes of many. It's not the results of Richard's application of paint that captures one. His talent is obvious. It's the understanding that Richard is the paint.
When it was depressing and I was really down, which I thought was the bottom, and I didn't realize that, you can just keep falling farther and farther unless you stop yourself and bring yourself back up. I would put the puke series up, all my elephants crying and all this stuff that was a sadder side to my life. A lot of people say they want to get rid of all their old work, they don't want to put it up, they don't want to look at it, they don't want to be affected by it or influenced by it.
Inspired by depression Expression became a master's puppet. The constant circle of give and fake left Richard with tools of the trade. A hand full of tomorrow, an outline on sorrow, the knowledge to survive in a circus arena, and the sweat to dominate his submissive claws.
If you're doing everything personal, you have to show your feelings. And so you be honest. If you're honest with yourself, you can do the depressing things too. I think they should be shown. I don't think I should have to hide my tormented series that I've done.
Richard is a man born to lead his followers to follow the true leader. Richard Park is in play. A heart symphony with no strings. Love is the only sword this day of the night needs. Only those who embrace fear would attempt to dress him. Knowing a man not afraid to crawl kneels before all. Man lives, and time forgives.
When I walked into the White Room, there was this giant dome sitting on this bench, and it was pulsating, and it was moving, and it was changing, and expanding, and it was translucent with light coming through it, and it was alive. And in the dream, it was profound. I said, this is alive, and I never created it, I never made it, and it's here in the studio. And there was someone sitting in the White Room, and I went over to it, and I can remember in the dream, it was so profound, and I put my arms around it, and I picked it up, and it was really hard to do. It was almost like wanting to scream but couldn't find your voice, you know, that type of thing. And I picked that dome up, and I carried it over, and I handed it to the person sitting there. I said, look, this is alive, and I never created it.
Art is life's decor. Richard is living proof of the above. A man without toys, but still, he owns the playground. His work takes you to where he has been and where you want to go. Richard's true worth is not something that can be hung on a wall. It's something that tears down walls.
When I was here alone at night by myself working, it was so real that whenever I would turn around, it would be right there behind me. And it was kind of scaring me. To overcome that fear, I brought this apparition into focus and improvised to bring this to the forefront so I could see it with my own eyes, meet it, get acquainted with it, find out what it was all about. I went through a year or two of solid photographs as art form. The photograph was the final art form. At this point in time, my imagination was really challenged because I had their whole body.
Fate arrives at its destined time.
A lot of times people aren't looking at your art. You're still doing it, and you just keep doing it. Over and over and over, year after year, for yourself.
A man, kind, now walks upright into the body of his work. It's love. It's rejection. It's a reason to believe. It's every world's corner. It's a chance to face self. It's your worth on a shelf. It's your inside out. It's complicated simplicity.
My friends stood behind me and encouraged me, and they kept encouraging me until I had to break down a lot of traditional ideas. I went into the pod phase. I had to bring all those colors to the forefront. They were colorful. I was in this incubation phase, and so I put all these giant egg-like pods together of different sizes and shapes. If you set on these things long enough, they will start hatching things out of them.
The connection unplugs itself. The space shift lingers on a dark-toss orbit. The looking glass in a window pane, peep-showing as reality admits to being insane. As the pieces rain toward destiny, it's one's choice to hide under an umbrella of false comfort, or stand and let them fall where they were meant to rain. To explore with everyone's given badge of passage, to lace the silver spoon gloves with a why not before every given bout.
Find out what it's all about. And make a bridge or a bond and get beyond that hurdle of fear. The bulb had just a grip on me for so many years. Finally, I realized that the alien and myself were one at this point. I had to give these apparition a morality. I gave these bulb heads a great morality.
Those are the strangest critters I ever seen, bro. I wonder where they came from. I wonder what they're doing here. I wonder where they're going. You ain't in this one, wormhead! They're getting away! Let's go! Get out of there, you lazy good-for-nothing! What are you doing in there? They're gone! The only way we can get them now is to go straight across the water! Let me by! Let me by!
I gave these bulb heads a great morality. I had to do that with a little film that I made, and in the end, I had them coming back. If we can be real as people, and you have some spiritual quality, then you're rich. And I did a whole series of the Christ things because I wanted to put it, those little saucers that are flying all around, that was the dome that he's got in his hand that I originally dreamed about. And I thought, I better put it in his hands because he represents life to me. And so that's what I did. There's so many people in the world that can't attain a peace of mind or even a spoon of food to be happy or to have anything spiritually, and they've lost all hope. And we can do so much more to help our fellow man.
Now, from behind his fading shield, this passive target arrow armed with heart is able, with the flex of his pallet wrist, turn into a fierce warrior of paint and caress the armor of passion and desire. Are those angel wings in his pocket? Or is he just glad the world is seeing him?
It gives you a perfume, a feeling that lingers with you.
Sunday morning in the dark, call you up to see the stars. You are the one with the going hard.
Man lives, and time forgives. It's something that tears down more.